Welcome to the Insurance Technology Podcast. I'm your host, Reid Holsworth. Joining me today is Leticia Trevino, COO of Heffernan. Welcome, Leticia.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having me on.
We are here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, the last day of AppliedNet. Thank God. It's been a grind, but awesome. How have you been enjoying it? Is this your first time to Nashville for AppliedNet?
No, it's my first time for the AppliedNet. Yes, I've been to Nashville before, but it's an amazing conference and it's been great.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to head home tomorrow.
Right. Are you going to the Opry tonight?
I am.
Oh, nice. It's going to be fun. Lady A, it's going to be good.
Can't wait.
All right. So before we get into you as the COO of Heffernan, I'd love to get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
So tell me a little about yourself. Where'd you grow up? What'd you do? What'd you want to be when you grew up?
All the good stuff. It all started. So I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area in a town called Pittsburgh, California, no H. So that's where I spent most of mine. I actually never really moved beyond 10 miles radius of my birthplace.
Whereabouts is that?
It's 30 miles east of San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
So East Bay.
Oh, gotcha. That's awesome.
So I grew up there, oldest of 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
So I think I was a born leader,
Big
delegator.
sister.
Big sister. Yep.
I can see it. Yep.
My dad immigrated from Mexico at 18.
Oh, wow.
And he met my mom at a Bible study class, actually. Kind of his little bit of his story, which I think will kind of dovetail into kind of who I am and how I came to be. Mm-hmm. He contracted polio as an infant in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And he was actually raised in a convent by nuns, and they prayed over him and said, "My God, you're never going to walk. The curvature of your spine is so severe." And by the grace of God, he walked by the age of 6 and came to the States at 18. Didn't know the language, was disabled, and his work ethic and the kind of person that he was just kind of really has always been very inspiring to me. Yeah. My mom's a homemaker, no nonsense homemaker, 5 kids at home. My dad really wanted her to be at home taking care of all of us, and we grew up in a very modest home. And I think I just always wanted to do something beyond what I was living in.
Yeah.
I did not play sports. We didn't have the means to participate in any of that. And I don't know that I would have done it actually, but I'm very proud of my culture, my Hispanic culture, and love the music and love the food and mariachi music. I always get tearful when I'm hearing that kind of music. So I'm really, really tied to those roots there. But at the same time, wanted to experience something beyond that. And so didn't know really what that was. And so I moved out of my home at 17.
Oh, wow. Yeah, same. Well, I was kind of kicked out, but but yeah, I moved out at 17 as well. Yeah.
Graduated high school. I really didn't have anybody talking to me about college. Growing up, in that it was kind of more of that, like, you're gonna move out of your father's house into your husband's. I was taught to be a good cook and a good homemaker, and I could clean and I could do all that stuff, but there was never any discussion about it, and I didn't even think it was for me.
Yeah.
That would even be on the horizon for me at all. So moved out at 17 with a girlfriend of mine, and in order for me to cover rent, I cleaned houses at night and did a couple different side hustles just to kind of make ends meet.
Yeah.
And as chance would have it, I ended up getting a job in insurance at 20 as a workers' comp claims adjuster.
Wow.
So I started my insurance career in the claims side.
Wow. So then did you go to college?
I did not.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I started. I took a couple of junior community colleges courses, and
same.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I needed to work to pay rent, so I had to prioritize that.
That's so awesome. Now you're COO. It's so great.
Yeah.
Freaking America.
Yeah, exactly. Right? America. Yeah.
It's awesome. So tell me more. So what was your favorite hobby? What did you like to do for fun back then?
Oh my gosh. We always, I don't know if maybe all kids did this, we did dance routines. I loved music, I always do. I've mentioned that a couple times now, but just listening to music, hanging out with friends.
Like dance routines like what? Like
we have choreographed the whole thing, like Janet Jackson was a big thing.
Yes.
We would do all those dance routines in the backyard, spend 8 hours dressing up all my siblings, and we had a great time doing that.
That's awesome.
So that if any spare time I had, I was doing that.
All right,
choreographing.
So claims adjuster at 20. So then 20. What happened?
So because I'm bilingual in Spanish, I ended up getting more of the higher profile accounts, even at that age, because a lot of the accounts that they had that were more hairy were bilingual. And so I ended up kind of getting on these bigger accounts and getting more visibility. and kind of moved up fairly quickly on the claim side. But then I got married at 21 and had my first daughter at 23, second one at 26. And commuting to the city, I kind of wanted to just maybe be a little bit closer to home, and had an opportunity to work at Heffernan. I kind of got recruited at Heffernan.
Oh, wow.
So 25 is when I actually joined Heffernan. And I joined them as a claims consultant. So at that point, I had 5 years experience of handling claims. And the way that they explained the role, which I had no idea even what a broker did at the time, because I was purely into the insurance claims administration. They said, well, we have high-risk clients, and we want to kind of do some analysis and provide oversight of these larger claims, and you know how to do the claims lingo, and you can help us negotiate that. So I came on board, and within 3 weeks, my supervisor quit. And I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. And they go, well, congratulations, you've been promoted. Jump in, the water's warm. And I think that's my entire career at Heffernan has been one of those. I mean, I've been really afforded a lot of opportunity, and I think really it's kind of even goes back to my original workers' comp days. I just kind of just dug in.
Yeah.
And always believed in myself. I don't know how or why, but I just said I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna dive in and I'm gonna learn.
What was that role? I'm trying to figure that out. Like, so what did you do?
I was a claims consultant. So
What does that
basically, it meant that I was. We had clients like Burger King restaurants, and so we would do analysis of how many claims do they have and where are they having these claims, and how can we help mitigate those claims. I would potentially call claims adjusters to try and accelerate closure of those claims.
Oh, okay, I got
So
you.
it was kind of more of those like, hey, I speak the lingo. This claim is open too long. Or have you
Right.
considered a deposition? Or have you offered settlement? Or what can we do from the employer's perspective to get this person back to work?
Right.
Kind of be that intermediary.
Oh,
So helping
wow.
reduce claims that were occurring, but trying to minimize exposures.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So joined as claims. And then Mike Heffernan decided he wanted to set up a claims, like a TPA. And so I joined that TPA division. And I was overseeing operations for that TPA division for a couple years, and decided I felt like a little bit isolated in this kind of off the shelf here little office. It wasn't part of the corporate office. And so I said, I think I want to get my broker license.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think sales is terrible. But I got my broker license and came back to work for Heffernan Corporate as a producer. And I wanted to target Latino markets.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is Latino markets? It could be anything. It was
Right.
restaurant, hospitality, nonprofits.
Like, how do you even target that?
I know. Well,
Right.
I just kind of feel like people culturally might want to buy from somebody that maybe looks like them.
Yeah.
And I didn't give it enough of a chance. I was only in the role for probably about a year and a half, and at the time I ended up getting divorced. And my kids were 3 and 6 by that point.
Oh, no. Oof.
And I really couldn't devote the time required to be doing the long hours, doing the traveling.
Yeah.
So I had to pivot a little bit and get back into an operational role.
Yeah.
So I think took a step back in my career for that time until I kind of got the home life stabilized.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
being a single mom, but I had my family support, and my company was very, very supportive of that as well, and allowed me to kind of be nimble in my career and change what I was doing and kind of rebuild my career from there.
It all works out in the end.
It does.
It does. It's
Yeah.
tough, though.
Yeah.
Those are tough times. Been
Yeah.
there. That's for sure. So tell us about what you're doing now.
So I am now Chief Operating Officer, and I often refer to myself as cook and bottle washer. So I get involved in some of the strategic things as well as down to the nitty-gritty stuff. Under my purview, I have compliance-related items, licensing, surplus lines. I have learning and development, the applied relationship, technology. I work very closely with our IT department, but primarily kind of all things applied and all the applied products. General operations efficiency, data, process improvement.
Wow.
So those are kind of the key things that I work on.
What do you really like to get into? Like, what when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. Like,
I think now that I'm at this point in my career, I've been with Heffernan and the Heffernan family now for 24 years. I think right now the most joy I get in the job satisfaction is the team building. The work's going to be there.
Yeah,
we can
totally.
constantly be looking at projects. We can constantly be doing process improvement.
yeah.
But really, it's the team building and it's bringing up the next generation.
What does that mean
leaders.
to you?
It means that, I didn't feel often that I worked really hard, but there wasn't anybody, in my opinion, that was kind of like reaching out their arm and pulling me up.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to pay that forward and say, like, hey, I didn't have that, but I want you to have an opportunity, and let me invest in you, or let me introduce you to some of these other folks, and speaking their names in rooms they're not in, and making sure we, for somebody that's deserving of that.
Totally.
I want
of
to
course.
invest in those folks that have a desire to grow in the organization or a desire to grow personally in whatever way. So I really enjoy that team building aspect.
Yeah, no, same. I love it. It's cool too, even when people, you bringing them up within your organization, and they start from sometimes, very entry level, and then become something. And it's even cool when they go and they leave and they go do something else and bigger things, out there within our industry or even outside. And it's neat to kind of bring those people up and watch them grow, even though it's not necessarily to your benefit or your company's benefit. That's at least how I feel about it.
I agree. I think it's a mark of a good leader. I can't tell you how many folks that I've poured into and really spent a lot of time with them, and then they get snatched up because somebody's like, wow, this is a superstar.
Yeah.
And they may not have seen them in that capacity. And so I just, of course it hurts.
Yeah.
But it is, to your point, there's no greater pride to see that that investment paid off and that those folks are going to elevate in their career.
Some leaders, I've talked to people where they will hold people down and not let them get certain, certificates and things, and do certain classes and things where they become more poachable in that way. And I don't think it's right. I think you just let them do everything and just let them grow and do their thing. And it's a small world. Sometimes people come back. Sometimes, they go up real fast somewhere else to one of your competitors or a partner, and then you're working with them again later on in life, and so it's cool. It's a small world. Our industry is a very small world.
It is. Just walking around here, I kept getting
God.
hey.
I know.
So yeah, you have to be kind to everybody. You never know who will be your boss.
That's so true. That's so true. So what do you guys got going on at Heffernan? What's a big priority? What are some of the big things you guys are getting after right now? If it's okay if I ask.
Sure, absolutely. Obviously sales, we're focusing on how do we continue to drive sales? How do we proactively work on cross-sell opportunities, mining our existing clients?
Yeah.
Data is a big thing,
Yeah.
Data quality. I think probably a lot of agencies experience that we don't have the best data quality, and we've been working on ways around that. How do we implement more of a carrot stick situation? We always have carrots, but maybe not as many sticks.
Yeah.
But we really pride ourselves in our company culture, and so there's this kind of, how do we address kind of establishing rules and regulations while still being a fun place to work? So that's been kind of a big kind of topic of discussion.
How do you put in process procedures for data cleanliness within an agency? Because it's tough. The end users, it's hard to audit, I guess, a lot of it. Maybe you do. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, we have what we call an exceptions dashboard. And so employees can go daily, weekly, monthly to go look and see on their accounts what things may not have been detailed properly. So it's 21 data points. It could be the commission line, the premium line, the carrier, the parent company, any of those items that we're going to be reporting on.
Yeah.
We highlight those key areas and say, of your 50 accounts or whatever that number is, 28 of them are missing this code. So it's easy for them to see.
Got it.
If they're not doing it, we've implemented kind of some offshore cleanup, where the things that can be cleaned up that don't require a licensed person, or they're just maybe just a code cleanup. Offshore, we're doing that for them. So we can kind of keep that data quality and be able to run reports.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's a big problem in our industry, just the data cleanse. Do you guys do you download on the commercial line side?
We don't right
why?
now. The hesitancy, I think, was in a couple of meetings this week. I think there's well, it's going to override my information. And oftentimes the information we have in there is not correct anyway. So so we are working on at least our small commercial team to at least open that up for that.
Yeah.
Personal lines, of course, we do take the downloads.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer there. But commercial, we're also, part of that data cleanup is having that producer code. So we, just like many large agencies, we've been on acquisition mode. And so when you acquire an agency, you get their producer codes and their stuff, and then you're trying to meld them into yours. And so that part of it, if we don't have it organized, it makes it difficult for us to do any kind of the interfaces with Epic products.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a major task.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. It's not glamorous. Someone's got to figure it out. So
no, not at all. But it's important. It's important. It's funny, we hear that all the time, like, especially on the commercial line side, it's we don't download because it overwrites the stuff. I've talked to like 10 agencies at this thing and saying that same thing, and but all of them are kind of like, yeah, but we know that's how it used to be, and they say like what you said, but a lot of it is kind of wrong, and so it is probably time to start doing that. So we're getting a lot more people that are turning it on, but a lot of people don't realize like a lot of that overwrite stuff and whatnot over many years, a lot of that stuff's been fixed in the bigger systems anyways. Yeah, so.
I think part of it too is you talked about kind of I guess the change management might be the most difficult part of it, but I think we've done a pretty decent job in getting our employees engaged in the decision-making process. So sincerely bringing them in, not just to patronize them, but to say, what do you guys think? Here's a problem. Here's what we're thinking about and how we think we're going to approach it.
Right.
Maybe for instance, downloads for commercial.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? We'll get them to get all the kinks out. They'll go, give us all their fears and why they don't think it should happen, and then we hear them out and we say, okay, but what if we could figure this out? Wouldn't this make your job easier?
Yep.
Because I think we're in a time right now where the market's hard. Our account managers are getting their butts kicked by having to continuously deliver bad news in terms of rate increases to customers.
Right.
And if we can somehow figure ways to automate their job and make their job a little bit easier in some ways, you would think they'd be more receptive to it, but for whatever reason, they're holding out. I think some of it could be job security.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What technology do you see making a really big impact, like coming about in your agency or in the industry broadly?
Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think claims and kind of being able to analyze some of that data is important. But one of the things that we've been working on over the last year and a half has been automating our proposals. So proposals for large commercial can take anywhere from, what we're told from our team, 6 to 8 hours.
Wow.
You're getting multi-lines, you're getting various carriers, sending the quotes in the format of a PDF, and then we use the embedded proposal in the system, which is a Word document, and it ends up looking what I refer to as a ransom note, because they will different fonts and they cut and paste a PDF, and it doesn't look polished at the end.
Yeah.
But these account managers want to protect our E&O, so they want to make sure all the proper endorsements were included, and so instead of they'll retype everything, and if you mistype something, it's an E&O for us. And so we've been trying to figure out what is the magic bullet for that. How can we automate that, make it look more polished, keep it compliant?
Yep.
We find that some people operate exclusively out of the system. They build their own proposals in a PowerPoint with no company branding or disclosures.
Oh, wow.
And so how do we make it so that everybody wants to use it and it's easy and efficient for everybody? And so we've been on that journey to find like what's out there. And I think, and you probably hear the same, like machine learning and AI has really evolved significantly in the last 18 months.
Oh, big time, yeah.
And so things that kind of just seemed so far-fetched before are, nearing to reality. So it's an exciting time, I think, for us.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big projects we're working on, is this automation of proposals, and then similarly, the loss analysis. So you get that loss and you want to be able to either share it with your underwriter or you want to share it with your client. It's painstaking to go through that. And we have offshored a lot of that stuff to kind of try and automate that, but then someone still has to double check it. They have to eyeball it and manipulate it. So we're looking at ways that we can automate that process as well.
I feel like there's some apps or something. There's got to be some things where you can connect in, just grab the data and just pull it all together. I know, like on the Salesforce world, I forget all the solutions that were out there now that you could do that, but like Conga and some of those kinds of things from back in the day, where you just feed it the data and it just does its thing, you know. But you have to hook it up to the API, I guess, through the API to bring it in.
Well, we've been piloting something now with a newer kind of up and coming tech, and basically you can do it a couple different ways. You send your carrier quote to a designated email address, and in 4 minutes, your editable proposal comes back to you.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're seeing an average of time savings of going from that 6 to 8 hours to 20 to 30 minutes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Huh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just thinking, maybe for the listeners, it might be good if we talk about the meeting yesterday that we had. So yesterday, we had a meeting with our top agencies out there, top agencies in the world, I'd say.
Wow. Thank you.
And then as well as some of the biggest carriers in the world, sitting in a room talking about, real people like yourself, you were there, talking about real stuff we can fix in the industry. I thought it was really good. It's like 3 hours, and I'm like, really? Come on, like 3 hours? But we went right up to the end. It was some really great discussion, and it was just interesting how we broke off into two groups. We both said, hey, let's go talk about real problems that are impacting both of us. And when we came back, it was kind of some of the same stuff. So I don't know if you want to give me feedback on it, what you thought.
I would agree. It's interesting you could separate us, and yet we come back and we all have the same opinions, the same thought process. I don't know if it's going to be solved anytime soon. I think we talked about having, what is it called, a golden
record.
Golden record. Of having it where everyone's going and retrieving data, and we have third-party enrichment services, and like if we just had one area where everybody could get that information and it could all be kind of approved, and you're not having to go and separately bear costs and time and all that kind of stuff.
Basically like having one record of a risk, we'll call it commercial lines risk, that parties are able to update. And so that golden record, it's golden when, a carrier, it's got bound business, here's policy. And so it allows other systems to go in and tap that, right, live. But then when a change occurs, the golden record is updated.
Yes.
And so
it's always going to be the source of truth.
Always a source of truth. And so there's so much time and effort in this industry in going out and getting all of this information from that risk. Like you go to remarket, all this stuff, it's just over and over and over and over again. And what was really interesting is the carriers and how they, and it's funny, I've never heard this before, but maybe it's just, I don't know, the day, but the carriers really wanted to push download to the agencies, and that's a cost on them, because they wanted a cleaner data set in the agency management system because of the data they get back at submission isn't as clean as they'd like it.
Yeah, so they're like, let me push it to you, so when you give it back to me, it's correct.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so then that's kind of where it started, but it's like, hey, what if we just had that one record that's out there? But so then we went down this whole rabbit hole around it, and it's like, well, who's going to share what? Are you okay sharing that? Like,
well, my agency wouldn't like that, and this, that, and the other, and then the carrier's opinion, which I thought was also interesting, and I appreciated the candor. They don't want to give you the information because they're thinking, well, you might remarket the account.
Right.
So there's hesitancy. What is the benefit for them? And so coming up with those case studies on why they should share it was interesting.
It was. And so like we started to okay, carriers, so what are some of the things that are kind of painful but you don't mind sharing? And we started to get in that whole loss run thing and claims information and all of that. So I think we can get there. I think we just need to start small.
Yeah.
And maybe it is on the claim side. Maybe it is on loss runs where, there's one golden record for that stuff. It's easier to get over the fence where people aren't as afraid of it. And then you kind of build it as time goes on. But I don't know, as a carrier or an agency, personally, I would do the golden record thing. There's just so much wasted time and effort in our industry. Like, why not? It's funny. Donna, I'm not gonna say where she's from.
Yes.
She kept going on and on and on about like, why is it any different than personal lines? Like you can just go run the reports.
Yes.
Like what's the difference?
Yes.
And she wasn't wrong.
Yes.
But it is different.
Just a little bit. Yeah, no, she's pretty passionate about it. I think that group, probably you picked them by design, the attendees.
Yep.
You want that passion for it. But yes, that was quite hammered, that topic. Yeah.
But so, I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but it's cool. I have, since then I've had, a bunch of conversations last night with carriers, and then I had a couple of meetings this morning. And, they really want to do something. They want to, really start to solve some of these bigger, meatier things, and for the betterment of the industry, which is pretty cool. It's really cool.
You hope that's the case, right?
Right? Yeah. And so I think it's exciting times in our industry, that said. And it's just really neat for us to be able to get those level of people in the room and just having a good conversation. I almost took I almost took a photo. I'm not going to name the carriers of the two carriers sitting next to each other
In harmony.
In
for
harmony.
A moment.
I'm like that has never happened. Like it's pretty.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I know, right? It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good that they get to hear kind of what our pain points are. I think so much of the interactions we have, depending on the level within the organization you're talking about account-specific stuff. They've got underwriting targets and goals. They're like sales folks.
Yeah, totally.
So they're trying to get their numbers, and we're trying to, retain and grow our business. Everyone has their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But I think yesterday was an opportunity to take all that aside and talk about how we can work together.
Yeah, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And it was, after the fact, kind of like the conversations later with some of the carriers were like, well, yeah, but like, hey, listen, if the agencies tell me what to do, we'll do it. But it'd really be great if there was like some sort of upside and some sort of competitive edge for us by doing this stuff first to market and things like that.
Yeah.
So more to come there. I mean, I think we're going to debrief this whole thing on this and come up with a list. But it's freaking cool to be able to really start to build some of these things. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Taylor earlier. I was meeting with him, and he's like, yeah, we just need to go and build that stuff and just call me like, okay, here it is, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of time when there's a lot of talk and a lot of conversations in this industry, but there's not a lot of action. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty neat to be involved in a business where, our global CEO is just like, yeah, go build that shit, mm-hmm. And so like, and we can, right? And so that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, I think the thing that was brought up as well is let's do it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no sense in you doing it by yourself. You're going to need some carriers. You're going to need the brokers.
Yep.
And if we all have our same vision and we're willing to support it, I think we're going to get more traction that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Let's do it together.
Question.
Yes.
Any advice you give to entrepreneurs coming into the insurance industry? I know you talk to a lot. You probably talk to a lot of companies that are hitting you up. A lot of startups probably hit you up. Buy my thing. I got the coolest next thing. So what do you think? Any advice you give to those guys?
It's funny. I had a coffee meeting yesterday with somebody that's up and coming, and it's so great to see them like fresh-eyed into this industry, because a lot of folks they're not coming in from the insurance space. They're coming in from just out of college, or they're technology driven. Like, how do I get into this money pit, this cash cow that is insurance? And I think what I'm enjoying is seeing their naivety, because they're not looking at things the way that we look at things.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, we're gonna be able to get more efficiencies that way. And I guess what I'm meaning is that we talked about this yesterday too. Everyone has the same way we've done it for 30 years.
Yep.
We've always done it this way.
Yep.
And maybe we're willing to change a tad.
Yeah.
But we need somebody that comes in and just keeps asking questions. But why?
Why? Sorry, were you the one that was saying just blow it all up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Tell the listeners, what are you saying about that?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, let's not think about how it should be. This is something my colleague, our CIO, Kate, she talks about all the time. If not for, like, let's take out of the equation how we do things today.
Yeah.
What is the end goal? What do we want to get accomplished?
Right.
And then back into it from there.
100%.
So like proposals, we were talking about that. Like, okay, so we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, let's take the can'ts out. In a perfect world, what would we do? What is the end goal? What is the time savings we're trying to achieve? What does the end product look like? And I think people that are coming into the industry, if they can maintain that approach and not try and appease brokers and say, well, how do you do it? How can we make it easier?
Yeah,
it's not gonna.
Totally.
They're gonna get subtleties in terms of efficiency gains.
Mm-hmm.
But if they came in with tell me what your problem is and what your end goal is,
mm-hmm.
and design to that.
Yeah.
Just like this vendor that I was talking to, I was like, I see your fresh perspective. You have no clue of a basis of what it should look like.
Right.
And so because of that, they have better ideas. Yeah. Because we're kind of like, oh, well, we tried this and we tried that. Well, yeah, but that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So how about if we try something completely different? And it's things we would have no idea or not even thinking about. They're not even on the radar.
That's so true. Yeah. No, it's so smart. I love that. I totally love that. Just blow it up.
Blow it up.
Yep. Back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where we want to go, and then just back into it. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, simple to say, like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. It can happen, though. I've seen some of these things happening as of late. I'm very encouraged by the technology that's out there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
Let's pivot to leadership, if that's okay.
Sure.
Unless you want to talk more insurance stuff.
Nah.
We're here all week talking about.
Yeah, I've been talking insurance for 2 days.
I know, it's nonstop. I'm kind of over it myself
Yes.
at this point. What does being a leader mean to you?
My gosh, that's a hard question. I'm proud to have the opportunity to be a leader. And I think I touched upon it earlier.
You are a leader? You consider yourself a leader?
I consider myself a leader.
Yeah.
I think some of it goes back to what I was mentioning, my childhood,
Yeah.
being the oldest.
Yeah.
Facilitating, even now as an adult, still kind of being that older sibling. But I think people are looking at me. They're watching what I'm doing. And that's not just, colleagues or competitors. It's the people that work on my team.
Yeah.
And so I got to lead by example.
Yep.
And I try and be kind and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And, so I see myself as a leader, and I want to continue to bring that next generation up. And so for me, I'm always like, okay, what can I do better? I'm a constant student. I mentioned early on I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
But because of that, I think I have this thirst for learning.
Yeah.
And so wherever I have an opportunity to take a course, and whether it's, I read some self-help books and ways I can be a better leader. Some of it's just more listening and less talking.
Yeah, totally.
I think as leaders tend to just be like, blah, 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 blah. I try to just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
You learn so much more.
I kind of just, a lot of times I have my team tell me what to do.
True. What do you think we should do? Okay, that's a great idea. Go do
you
it.
You guys are the experts. I don't know. I think a lot of people think that as a leader you have to dictate, and you do. You got to make the hard decisions.
Yes.
But you got to be there, driving the vision and whatnot. There's a balance. But I think that, to your point, when I think about when I visualize like a leader, standing there, telling people what to do. But a lot of times it's your team being like, here's what we are doing, kind of thing. And it's like, you good with that? It's kind of sign off, check off, kind of things like that. At least in my environment,
I think my team feels like if you asked anybody that works with me, that I'm in it with them. There isn't any. I mean, yes, of course, to your point, I have to be the heavy sometimes.
Yeah,
I have to have that.
Rare, but totally.
But it's me in it with them. Like, how can we do this? I had an employee last week. She's like, you asked me to do this project, and I'm having some challenges. It's taking me weeks to get it done. I said, well, let's talk about it. We talked about it, and I said, oh, you just don't know how to, do this part of the job. Let's bring in somebody else on the team that knows how to do this.
Yeah.
Something she worked on for 3 weeks was addressed in 45 minutes.
Yep.
I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Raise the white flag early, and let's bring it in, and let's tap into the resources if we don't know. And then I want you to spend some time learning. But that was the leadership experience that. Yeah. Don't be afraid of raising your hand and saying you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Let's bring in the people that do know how to do that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it.
What's interesting is I just thought of something. I met one of our carrier customers last night. We were hanging out, and he was telling me how data in leadership can be so powerful. And he told me this story. It's kind of like off the wall kind of story, but it's really cool. Is that he has all these underwriters under him, tons of them, and one of the underwriters was way underperforming on premium. And he said, so he's got these data scientists. And so he says, hey, I want you to go analyze and see what's going on with Sally over there, right? So normally, no data. Sally, what the heck? You suck at this. Why is your premium, you're so underperforming. Everybody's way over here and you're way over here. And so with the data, they found that she is way more profitable, the business she's putting on the books, than everyone else. So even though it's a lot less, it's actually a lot better for the business. And so when his whole point to this was, if I wouldn't have had that data and had my data scientists, we were geeking out about data, and this just kind of came up and out of it. But he's like, if I wouldn't have my data scientists, I would have just been heavy, what's going on, what are you doing wrong, this, that, and the other. It was more hey, you're doing great. This is amazing, and look at what you're doing. How can we take some of this and bring this into the other teams? But also, how can we start to ramp up your number a little bit more? It's more of a constructive conversation as opposed to
coming down on somebody.
Yeah. But it's I don't know. For me, it was kind of cool because it's so true. If you start to think of it in that way, and when you're analyzing your people, because everybody has measurables, KPIs, all this kind of stuff, and I think it's if you see somebody underperforming in ways, maybe it's not because lack of effort. Maybe it's not because, they're slacking or whatever it is. Maybe they are doing something right. And by digging in and understanding it prior to the conversation of being what is happening here? It was pretty neat. Anyways, it's kind of a tangent, but I just thought.
No, I agree with that. We, for our service teams, we have workforce management tools that at least will tell a little bit about that too, to say, We've got Nancy over here who's, really killing it. What are the things that Nancy's doing that we can kind of emulate?
Yeah,
copy?
yep, exactly.
There's that part of it. Or Nancy is working 12 to 14 hours a day. Now, that's not sustainable.
Right, exactly.
And we don't want her to work.
No,
that.
who does?
So who wants to burn out your staff?
No.
We tend to reward good employees with more work. They're victims of success.
It's so true.
So, that's one of the things I look at to see, those folks that are really good that keep getting tapped into. Hey, do you mind sitting on this task force? Do you mind doing this, testing a pilot? Do you mind? It's like they have a day job. We have to figure this out.
Right.
We have to kind of temper it a little bit. So, just being more of an empathetic and being cognizant of all the things going on.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's just good leadership.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were a leader? I say this, and the reason why I ask this, because for me, like personally, I've always been a leader. Like even as a kid, like I've just always like led people, and like people like follow me. It's a thing, But like I didn't realize that I was an actual leader until not that long ago. And I'm like, holy shit! Like I've always like, been the boss and this kind of stuff, but truly like knowing in myself, like, oh wait, I am an actual leader and I have a responsibility in that leader. Although I still was responsible and I've always been good to my people and all of that. But for me, it was almost like a mindset change in a way. Like, yes, this is who I actually am. It's like really accepting that title. Have you always accepted the title? I mean, you've been big sister your whole life. I was little brother, so it's a little bit different,
Yeah, I think I would say, so during my career, which I didn't mention early on, I had a 6.5-year stint overseeing U.S. operations for Patra.
Oh, wow.
That outsourcing
No kidding.
company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and that was several hundred employees. I think when I left there, it was probably just under 400 employees I had across the U.S.
Wow.
And when I started, it was probably 40.
Yeah.
And so the job evolved, and I got to learn so much about offshoring and international kind of employees. And I think that role was pivotal in terms of, wow, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
I had been a supervisor, I had been a manager, had led teams before, but not at that scale.
Yeah.
And the impact that we were able to have on so many
people.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
That for me was, that kept me up at night.
Yeah.
When you talk about hey, how do I,
For real.
how do you motivate a team? How do you, especially that was an entirely remote environment. So, rarely we would maybe meet with everybody once a year and you'd see these people and it was just like, oh my gosh, I got to see you in person. I interviewed you like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a very, unique experience. But I really wanted to I spent probably 50% of my day on personnel related things in that role. And a lot of it was glad handling and I always say shaking hands and kissing babies. I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to personally connect because I wouldn't have an opportunity at an event like this to see them. And I would be earmarking future leaders through those conversations.
Totally. Yeah.
But but I would spend my, weeks would be, oh my gosh, I'm having 8 meetings this day. And that was the moment for me. I'm like, you're a leader.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Making changes, making boss moves. And being the only female in that C-suite.
Yeah, wow.
That was also
that's
another,
awesome.
A proud moment when we'd look and we'd take executive team photos and I'd be the only girl in the group.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had a really important thing to do as a result of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another question. What is the most important trait a leader should have? We've kind of touched on this, but if you to sum it up, what do you think, what's the most important thing a leader should have?
Gosh, I would say for sure leading with empathy, but not being afraid to give feedback.
Yeah.
I think people, a lot of leaders I see, they want to be their friends with their employees.
Yeah.
And they're like,
so far. Yeah.
I don't want to tell them they're not doing a good job because we're friendly or I think you have to, people can only improve if you're prepared to give them that feedback.
I always say friends are free. We work together. You're costing me money.
We're not a nonprofit organization here.
I mean? And even if we were, you got to pull your weight. Know, and so you're right. You got to have the hard conversations. Yeah. I've had friends, family, everybody work for me, and I fired my ex-father-in-law. And so it is what it is sometimes. But I think you're so right. A lot of people, especially young leaders, I want to be liked. And I think that's that part of that maturity
that you think, oh, I can't tell them because they're not going to like me anymore. Well, we're not here. Yes, of course, I think innately everybody wants to be liked, but you want to also help them grow, and they may be completely unaware of their behavior or their commentary or their actions. And I think if you can give them that, I think you can also create such a loyalty because they appreciate that.
Yeah.
Most generally, anybody that's really cares about their job, when you give them feedback, hey, I noticed you've been doing this, and you may not be aware of how it comes across, but if I were you, I mean, if someone was talking to you that way, how would you receive it? Oh gosh,
Yeah, totally.
I had somebody that sent I call them nasty gram email, and they sent it and they carbon copied everybody, and so she was someone on my team, and she reached out to me afterwards. What'd you think of that email? I said, I didn't really like it. Well, you didn't really like it? What do you mean? I said, well, you could have picked up the phone.
Yeah.
Let's do that next time before. And if you need to bring in people, then you do that. But that shouldn't be your first bullet out of the gun.
Yeah.
Try a different approach. And she was appreciative of that. She hasn't done that, at least to my knowledge. But I think those are the learning lessons. And if you're not prepared to have them, you shouldn't be in a leadership role.
Yeah, I think that too. People want to be led, and when being led is, you have to give them feedback, and you have to be like, hey, that was really great. It's not just negative; it's positive.
Course, yes.
A lot. Like,
I do a lot of
dude, you did an
support.
awesome job on that. Like, I personally, like, people that know me on my team, like, I don't kiss ass. Like, like, I don't just like, hey, good job, pat on the back for, you know what I mean, just for nothing. It's like, you did a good job. I'll tell you, you did an awesome job.
Yes.
That was so good. You're crushing it. Like, the positive stuff, and then the negative stuff. Like, hey, that was good, but you know. And I think people, that's what makes them better. That's what helps them excel. I mean, it's just sharpening the knife, if you will, for them. And I think when people don't, it doesn't end well overall. And then so anyways, I think a lesson that I learned a long time ago is people really like to be led, and a lot of people like to be told what to do in a nice way. I mean, it sounds like hard.
Just give me the structure. They don't want to have to design the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I definitely I do give a lot of positive accolades. I don't patronize people if it's not, they're not deserving. I don't, but I sincerely have a great team around me.
Yeah.
And so I let them know regularly.
I feel too that as a leader, if you have to micromanage people, any person on your team, they shouldn't be on your team.
I agree.
100%. I mean, it depends on what level you're at, or I guess you could argue depends on the job, and but if you have to micromanage, no.
No.
At least if you have a downline like leadership team.
Yes.
But I mean,
Yeah,
right?
entry level positions maybe because they're learning, but not at the level that we're at. There's certainly you can't.
No.
You're spending more of your time micromanaging somebody. No, it's not good for anybody, really.
Yeah. How do you define success?
That's changed throughout the years. I would say early on, success was having that BMW.
Totally.
Success was having money in the bank.
Yep.
Not living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I think success now is having a body of work you're proud of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like looking back at your career and saying, wow, I made a lot of positive impacts to my company, positive impacts to people.
Yeah.
I think that's what success means to me now. But if you'd asked me that question 10 years ago, it would be different.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big house, nice car.
Big house, fancy car.
Yep.
I mean, that was partially why I wanted to be a producer, because I thought, well, I see them coming in there with these fancy cars and fancy watches. Well, I got a fancy watch like you. So yeah, maybe that is success, the Panerai. But yeah, I think
this one was actually a gift from my employees. Gave this to me.
Oh my gosh, you got some good employees.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to
It's
think
all
what I
gifts.
got.
All
I
the
think I got
jewelries
some
have is
Lululemon
gifts.
hoodie. I think I don't know if I got.
Well, when we sold the business, they all made a lot of money. So yeah.
There you go. I need.
But
I have some ways to go then.
But to that point,
Yes.
we all achieve something, and and I mean, achieve success for so many people. I mean, that's awesome. That's how I define success. It's other people defining success in their own way.
It is.
I
mean, we spend so much time at work, and I was talking to somebody just yesterday about this, and it's like, you want to, what is the mark I'm going to leave on this world? And if somebody could say, I learned a lot from her, she was a kind person, she was funny, she was sincere, then I did my job.
Yeah.
And that's success.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, a few more questions, and we're going to close out.
Okay.
How do you give back?
Well, our company is very philanthropic, and I think, talking about my childhood and kind of where I came back, grew up from, I've been over the years thinking, like, how do I give back to my community? and being led by Mike Heffernan, our CEO, just seeing the things he's done. Every year for Christmas, I get a gift from him, and that it's a monetary gift that I can give to somebody, and it can be an individual or it can be a nonprofit organization. And I remember the first year I got it, I've been getting it from him for the last probably 15 years. I just was tearful. That, oh my gosh, so kind that somebody would do that. That they would, out of their own kindness, and say, here, do this, I'm going to donate this in your name and your honor.
Wow.
And so for me, I'm thinking, how do I do that? So actually, I'm in the midst now of setting up a scholarship fund.
Wow, no kidding.
And I'm calling it the Poder Scholarship Fund. Poder meaning you can. Poder means yo puedo, I can. Tú puedes, you can. Podemos, we can together.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm actually going to be targeting someone that looks like me. So female, Latina. Going back to my high school, I think had I had that opportunity, now I've had an incredible career and a great life.
Yeah.
But I think back, what would it have been had somebody invested in me at that time and said, hey, just because you're a homemaker and your mom's taught you how to cook tortillas and clean up a house, you can still go to college and you can still be something special.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anybody at that time that did that. And so now that I'm at a point in my career and in my life where I can give back, I'm doing that. So I've been networking with some of my colleagues here to donate to that scholarship fund, and I hope to be able to positively impact several
I'm sure
little
you will.
girls just like me.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Thank you
That's
so much.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Outside of family, outside of kids, and I always say this because everybody's got family, all kinds of stuff going on. What do you do for fun?
Oh, I love to read.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I have year to date almost 30 books.
Wow, 30 books?
Yeah. Yes.
Like maybe 2.
Any opportunity. Sunday afternoons, my husband will walk in. Are you still reading? Okay, yeah. I'll get into one of those good books. I just picked up reading probably like 3 years ago, and I just love it. All kinds of different like thriller and mystery and not just work stuff. I mean, the fun stuff. I like doing that.
I've been trying to get into because I'm so tired of TV. Like I don't even watch it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so over it. Like
Same
even
old, same
Netflix,
old.
I'm just like, it just like I can't get into it anymore. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I mean, my brain just is over it. But like, I think it's hard for me to find good books though, because I want to start reading stuff like that. It's like instead of watching a movie, why don't I just start reading a book? You know,
Book clubs. I've joined. We have a book club at work.
Oh yeah. Maybe we have one
and
in
then-
Applied. I don't even know.
Yeah, you might find out. But there's a couple of other, like Reese Witherspoon has a book club, and Oprah
Oh,
Winfrey
okay.
has a
So
book club.
there's okay.
So you
got
can go and follow them and see what are the top
Oh,
books
yeah.
that they're reading and what's new and
Oh,
exciting.
I got you. So like certain people will have like book club collection of books. That,
Yes, every month they kind of tout them, and then I'm on this Goodreads app, which is I love it because it's like bragging rights. The second I finish a book, I need to go and mark my book as read, and then people that are connected. It's a social media, so your friends are following you and they're
It's
seeing
like a gamification a little bit to
exactly.
reading as well. So
I'm like, oh my god, I gotta
cool,
finish the book. I finished the book.
That's awesome.
So there's that. But the other thing that I do for fun is I box. I'm a boxer.
What?
Yes.
That's badass.
I have purple knuckles. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. I have my trainer is, he's right at the edge of getting into the UFC. So he's like a legit trainer. He comes to my house 2 mornings a week, and we box.
You have like a bag? Or like,
I have a bag, but he's hold pads, and we're hitting, and he's hitting me, and I'm hitting him, and so it's legit stuff. Yeah, I'm a no.
That's badass.
Yeah, and I think if I can do 10 rounds before starting my day in the morning, there's nothing that at work is going to be more challenging.
Yeah.
So jump
Boxing
roping in the morning, get my jump rope in, warm up, and.
Boxing is so hard.
It is so hard.
It really is so hard.
Yeah.
I've been in many fights, and with friends, I put on like gloves and stuff, and like I last like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, no, we're doing 10 3-minute rounds. Yeah,
That's
we're really
brutal.
doing it. Yeah, and it's not the like people go, oh, you're boxing, you're kick. No, I'm not kickboxing. I'm like literally getting my butt kicked. And I'm really. I have some moves. I have names for certain like people that I don't like. I'm like, this is the such and such move. I think about them like, ooh. But it is a great stress reliever. It's been great for our mental health.
Yeah.
Having some activity daily. But certainly that's I look forward to that. My 2 days a week, and my trainer who's been with me for 4 years. He's part of our family now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a big fight coming up in December. And
that's awesome.
It's like he's like one of our kids. I see him and I'm like, yeah. So
in Milwaukee, they have this gym. It's called Rufus Sport, and like it's a legit UFC gym. And I had a buddy who was like training over there, and I went there. I took my son. I'm like, let's go. They had like a local fight. That was the first time I've been to a USC fight. It was so badass.
I
It
love
is
it.
so ridiculous. Like, and even like like everything, kids, women, like all of it is.
Yes.
It is so
And
crazy.
it's so rare. It's just like, they're like, you like UFC? I'm like, I love it.
It
Yeah.
is so good.
It is. It's kind of brutal.
It is. It's a little primal. It's primal.
Yes. I don't know
but
what it
it's
is.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
When I've had a rough day, I'm like, get out there and hit some pads. Yeah.
All right, 2 more questions. If you had unlimited time, what would you do?
I go on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I don't take enough vacation. I would just sit on a beach somewhere
Yeah.
and just maybe read a book.
Read. Yeah. Sit on the beach and read.
Sit around the beach and read. I love something about the ocean. I just love being there, and I just don't make it a priority. I think I'm in grind mode for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've got a good 15 plus years left to be grinding.
Yeah.
But I hope that in the next few years I can try and enjoy a little bit of that too.
Did you go in the ocean when you were a child?
No,
No. Yeah.
not until I was an adult. I had never been on a plane until I was like 18.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
get to see it. Even
Yeah.
though we were here in the Bay Area, I don't even think I remember even like, you could see the ocean in San Francisco. I don't think I
Right.
remember like touching sand until I was an adult.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like one of those things like, oh, I like this. I'd love to retire in San Diego and be
Yeah.
by the ocean if I could.
Yeah.
So-
San Diego's nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But that's what I would do. I would spend time just,
Yeah.
relaxing, spending time with family. I love
Yeah.
my family. I love being with them, and uninterrupted time would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
If I could
totally.
just spend time with them and laugh, and we listen to music and we have good times. And
Yeah. All right, last question.
Okay.
What's your drink of choice? And I know you drink.
yes, so I like
Because
the
you were hanging
fancy-
out with Kabir last night.
Yes.
So you have to drink if you hang out with Kabir.
Yeah, it's part of a prerequisite. I would say champagne, Veuve Clicquot, but we had some Dom
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah,
We were
Kabir
drinking
brought
that.
out the Dom.
Only when it's Kabir. That's probably my go-to drink, I would say.
Yeah.
I like lemon drops and espresso martinis as well
All right.
when I'm feeling frisky. And my typical drink in the morning would be an Americano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do decaf really.
Oh, yeah?
Because you could tell I'm a fast talker.
Yeah,
Could
yeah.
you imagine caffeine with
Oh,
this?
yeah.
I'd be talking like Rosie Perez.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. So I just need decaf is good for me.
I go through decaf sprints, stints. I don't know. Same, but right now with all this going on, no way.
need a
I'm
little
like,
caffeine?
I'm like 9 cups deep already.
Yeah.
Like not really, but like it is too much.
Trying
but,
to stay-
But generally
survive.
speaking, I'm with you. I have so much energy, and like when I'm like not doing this stuff to the wee hours of the morning all
Yeah.
the time. I'll drink a cup of coffee and I'm like, blah,
Yeah. I almost get too much, so it's
It's
a
like,
little bit-
what is wrong with you?
Yeah. I like the taste of coffee, but not the after effects.
Totally.
I can avoid
It's
it.
for me, I like the like warm beverage in the morning. It's kind of just like a ritual thing, you know.
Go down there and see all the folks at the coffee shop, say good morning, all the retirees just sitting there.
Yeah, right. Like
Shake
must be
hands.
nice.
Yeah. Let me go grind for the next 12 hours. Yeah.
Well, this was great. Thank you so much for joining me. This
Thank
was
you
awesome.
for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.